All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 3 p.m. Roll call.
Trustee Barto.
Here.
Trustee Matoye.
Here.
Trustee Crane.
Here.
Trustee Anderson. Here. Trustee Ursoilu.
Here.
Trustee Wigand. Here. Trustee Yelsey.
Here.
Dr. Smith.
Here.
Okay, we move to adoption of the agenda. We have a couple of requests to amend the agenda. So I would request an adoption of the agenda as amended with item 19D20 removed from consent and
Can you hold on?
That's
Wait.
the entire agenda.
removed from the entire agenda.
Hold on, let's see what it is. Hold on a sec. Let us catch up. Thank you.
What is it?
19, D as in David?
19D20.
I didn't know we had 20 under D.
And then
Oh my
20?
gosh.
Yeah.
And this, when did this come about, the
This
change?
was regarding some questions that various trustees had that they were not able to get resolved, in addition to staff's recommendation that we pull up for future.
So staff recommends.
Yes, staff recommends.
Okay, next.
Okay, and then I had a request to pull item 19D14 from consent, but we can move that to discussion.
And again, which one?
19D14.
19D14.
Isn't that, oh,
I think we
okay.
need more information just overall, so I don't know if we want to discuss, the contracts weren't attached.
Okay, so did you want to instead pull that for questions to be discussed prior to?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll amend the, need a motion then to amend the agenda, removing item 19D20 from the agenda and moving 19D14 to pull for additional information.
So move
To discussion action?
to
or just-
discussion action or just more information?
There's 25 contracts and they weren't attached, so I think we just need more information for next time. Yes?
Oh, so you want it removed from the agenda?
Yeah, I mean, there's 25 contracts. So while we have a master contract that we use, to me, I don't know if us discussing it is gonna let us know what the amounts are or what the services are.
Are these standard contracts that we've always had?
They're all the same contract language in terms of the special education master contract. What Trustee Anderson is talking about is there should have been a rate sheet attached that specifically talks about kind of not so much the dollar amount, because sometimes we can't guess that, but how much they're charging us for speech therapy or occupational therapy. Those were inadvertently left off. So there's the master contract is the same master contract we use all year. So, in terms of sharing that doesn't change. But the specific dollar amounts, yes, or how much the services are, were not listed. So there is an option of making copies of those rate sheets prior, so you can look at them during open and approve them then. If that's the kind of the direction of the board, we'll make sure you get all those copies. And then if you would like a copy of the big master contract, I can get that as well, or just the rate sheets, whatever your preference is.
I think a copy of both would be great if we could get a copy of both. And I think that due to the fact that they are student services and that they're not items that we can have a big discussion on because they're specifically related to students and privacy, I would recommend that we either pull to discussion action or we just leave and have additional information provided.
Yeah, I mean, if we have the information provided and we can look at it, I think that's fine.
Okay.
All right, so then may I have a motion to adopt the agenda with the amendment of pulling item 19D20 from the agenda?
Move,
So-
all right, second. Sorry.
Who made that motion?
Did you move it? Because I seconded it, otherwise I'll move it.
I thought
She's the chair.
Yes,
She
I
can't-
made
I
the
thought Ashley did.
recommendation
Oh, okay.
to move.
didn't you?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
it's been moved by trustee Crane, seconded by trustee Matoye. Thank you. To amend the agenda to remove 19D20 from the agenda, may I have a roll call vote?
Trustee Barto.
Yes.
Trustee Matoye.
Yes.
Trustee Crane.
Yes.
Trustee Anderson.
Yes.
Trustee Ursoilu.
Yes.
Trustee Wigand.
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey.
Yes.
Thank you. We move to item 3, community input on closed session items. I see no comments. So with that, we will now move to closed session. The items are 4A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. 4B, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, employment. Number 2022-06 HR. 4C, conference with labor negotiator, NMUSD representative. 4D, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, employment. And 4E, student discipline, 1 case. We will return to open session at 6 p.m. We move to closed session at 3:05 p.m. All right, call to order at 6 p.m. Opening ceremonies. Moment of reflection, pledge of allegiance, led by Trustee Yelsey.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a report out from closed session. The motion is made and seconded, took action into. In closed session, the Board of Education took action to approve the resolution regarding employment number 202206 HR. The roll call vote was as follows: 7 ayes, 0 noes. With that, we move to the adoption of the minutes, 7/12/22. May I have a motion?
So moved?
May I have a second?
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Crane and seconded by Trustee Wigand. Roll call vote.
Trustee Barto?
Aye.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes?
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou? Trustee
Yes.
Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
yes.
We move on to introduction of new staff. Dr. Linda Kim, Principal of California Elementary School.
Hello, good evening, Board of Trustees. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Smith, district leaders, and Newport-Mesa families. Thank you so much for this opportunity to serve as California's next principal and to be here serving Newport-Mesa. I am so honored, so grateful, and after today's SEL training district-wide, I'm just so impressed with how supportive the board has been with the direction of supporting the whole child. So aside from looking at a beautiful panel of female board of trustees, I know that I'm at the right place. I just want to promise you that I am going to give it my best every single day. Working for Newport-Mesa, I'm going to take care of my families here, and I really look forward to seeing you on our campus. Hopefully I can see you make it to some of our events or just pop by and celebrate with us just everyday successes. But thank you so much, and I wish you all a very successful school year and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome. Next, we move to recognition of our spring athletic sports champions. Dr. Torres.
So apparently that's my mic doing that. I apologize. All right, there we go. It is my distinguished pleasure this evening to welcome up Dr. Sean Bolton, who is going to introduce his award-winning baseball team. Dr. Bolton. We are so fortunate tonight to have 2 of our coaches with us and 7 of our student athletes.
Absolutely, thank you. Members of the board, President Bartow, Superintendent Smith, Executive Cabinet, and distinguished guests, thank you for recognizing the last CIF championship from last year's incredible run of 9 CIF championships.
Oh, goodness.
But always try and give a little story behind the championship run. This is the first significant title in baseball history since 1947 at Newport Harbor. The last league title was in 1947. We didn't win league, we didn't win CIF, but we won state. So we'll take it. Thank you for the recognition. Mr. Lee teaches on campus. Mr. Hahn teaches on campus. They came in first year last year, turned the program around. Mr. Chalmers left it in a great place. He's still teaching at Newport Harbor, but they took the ball and they ran with it and they won a state title. And I'll let them talk a little bit more about the run. But thank you again for all the support from the cabinet level to the board level to the educational community level. It really takes a village, and it just really galvanizes the team, and they know everybody's behind us. So thank you for all that support.
I just wanted to say thank you for having us. I'm grateful to have the 7 players here today. It's a long time since we won, I know. But it's a really great group of kids. We were very senior heavy last year, faced a lot of adversity, trying to turn around a tradition and a culture, and to have young men who are now going off to college playing such a big role in that. They were 1-4, one more game and their season would have been over, one more loss. And they went on an incredible run, set nearly every program record, broke every program record that had existed before them, and they won their last game, which is not many teams get to say that. So just very grateful for them, and thank you all for the support. And with that, my assistant coach is here, Coach Wyatt Hahn, who, as Dr. Bolton said, was on campus. And then from there, I'm going to start with introductions. Our first player is Adair Basoso. Next player is Jackson Gillis. Then we have Elijah Hasseth. Adam Martin. Carson Siebold. Ryan Smith. And last but not least, Joey Wright.
So that's in your background. Okay, I'll move. Usually they keep us out of it.
Not too far.
It's really good about that. She takes it up.
Can we get you guys in 2 rows, tall, less tall?
Okay. And as always, go Sailors.
He's on summer.
I know. I know. I felt, Dr. Bolton, I felt empty not hearing, and as always, go Sailors. So, thank you.
Now it's official.
All right, and now we move to Harbor Council PTA report with Cynthia Strassman.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent, President Bartow, board and cabinet members, and our guests and community members. It's a pleasure to be here tonight representing Harbor Council. Just a couple things I'd like to share. Our goal and theme this year on council is re-engaging our communities. And we as a council and our PTA presidents are hopeful and excited that our students will be able to engage in a plethora of additional enrichment activities that will allow them to excel in school, socially and or academically, and for our families to have opportunities for community engagement and meaningful connections. With that being said, our first enrichment, we are launching, our PTAs are launching our National Art Reflections program. This year's theme is Show Your Voice. Super excited about that. There are 6 categories. There's dance, literature, visual arts, photography, and film. And our goal this year is to increase the level of engagement at school sites. We currently have 12 PTAs committed to running the program, and we'd like to see eventually over time all 27 school sites participating in this program. What sets this contest apart from other art contests is the artist statement. It's something for the student to create the artwork, but it's something entirely different to articulate that on paper. And some of our students are very deep thinkers and passionate. And, you know, when you look at a piece of art, you have an assumption what that means. But when you read the statement, it's much more powerful than what you're visualizing. So we are enthusiastic about what's going to come our way this November when we view all the entries at the council level. Membership. Our membership campaigns are in full swing, and school hasn't even started. So a couple shout outs to a couple of our units. We have an online membership portal called Totem. And we are able to capture memberships with a QR code, so it's much more efficient and quick. Newport Harbor, we're 375 members. Congratulations, Sean. Costa Mesa has 139 members to date, and Mariners at 118, and these are just on the online. So we encourage everybody who is in attendance today to support your local PTA unit by becoming a member. It doesn't mean you have to volunteer. But by supporting your PTA, that means that helps us with our advocacy efforts. And in addition, by your membership, it shows that you value the work of the PTA. So once again, we encourage you to join your local PTA units. Last but not least, we have launched a couple new social media platforms on Instagram and Facebook at HCPTA. So please follow us. Our goal, one of our goals this year with communications is to more consistently highlight the great works at our PTA units throughout the year. So you'll be able to see all the great, wonderful works that our PTA leaders are doing for our communities. And that concludes my report for this month. So thank you.
We move to CSEA and NMFT President's comments. We'll start with CSEA Representative Eleanor Rebard.
President Bartow, board members, Superintendent Smith, cabinet, and guests, I'm Eleanor Rebard. I'm the CSEA treasurer, and I'm reporting for Pam Saunders, the president, who could not be here this evening. Pam wanted to acknowledge all classified employees. We've been here since June 10th. We've been in the classroom for the summer enrichment program. We've driven buses. And we're slowly beginning to come into the offices. So Pam would like to thank everyone. And I think I'll join with certificated classified employees and certificated employees. Welcome back all students for a great beginning year on Monday. We'd like to thank the board and the superintendent for our welcome back lunch with TK Burger at Newport Harbor tomorrow. It's always a good time, good food, and it's an opportunity for classified staff to see their peers and get comments and just catch up. Classified members will be voting on Thursday, September 1st to ratify the tentative agreement for the 2-year contract that includes 2 pay increases and also 2 memorandums of understanding, one for standby assignments and one for additional work hours to support expanded learning opportunity programs. So thank you for this opportunity to speak for CSEA.
Thank you. And now we move to NMFT President Sarah Awater.
Is this it?
Yeah, it's a new one.
It's new.
Just talk. Do I just talk like?
It picks up pretty well.
Okay. Good evening, President Bartow, board members, cabinet, and everyone here. I hope you had a really nice summer. I hope everyone had a great summer. I had a good summer. I did a lot of things. Sadly, a class in public oration was not one of them. So here I go. On behalf of NMFT, welcome back to everyone, and we look forward to a great year. Especially thank you to the teachers and staff who worked with the students over summer, helping to bridge those gaps and meet those needs. I'm happy to report a TA which is up for ratification. I'm happy to report of a TA which is up for ratification that I believe represents a solid outcome for certificated staff, and I know it represents the hard work and cooperation of both teams. I want to let you know some of the things that I'll be focusing on this year. Safety. NMFT's members have indicated that they're very interested in assessing and improving school safety. We're happy to participate in the task force. I want to be really clear how important it is that things are research-based and that we get the information about what is research-based and is effective. And that's going to be the things that we're really behind, and I am most excited about sharing and teaching, because sometimes they're not intuitive. For example, there's a website I went to a lot called everytown.org, and it has a massive amount of research. And one of the things that I learned is the most effective things are preventative and have to do with risk assessment and the things you do beforehand. Another thing I learned was that the drills, the ones where they do the enactments, are not only ineffective statistically speaking, but also can lower or heighten a sense of emergency so that you don't notice cues when there are things, and also be traumatizing. So I felt like it was a really solid place to look, so I encourage anyone to look on there and explore what kinds of things the most prominent experts and researchers are finding about school safety. Another thing I'm going to be focusing on this year is supporting teachers and service providers as they do their work. I know you've all seen the news stories about teachers that are leaving the profession or people that aren't coming into the profession and the shortages. A lot of it is totally unrelated to anything we've done in this district. It's just something that's occurring in public education. One thing is really relatively low starter salaries for professional kid. My son's 28, so kids that come out and can do something else. And I know that in regard to staffing shortages and things like that, we don't have an extreme shortage here, and some of the the things we read about, we can't say, yeah, I mean that applies completely here. I understand that, but the thing that's occurring in the classroom, I think that's most alarming is how teachers are saying they're feeling, and I think it has to do with the increased need and intensity that comes to them, and when they're doing their jobs. And so I feel really strongly that that's an important thing to pay attention to, and I want to assist as much as possible in helping be a voice to communicate as soon as there is something that is needed, that it's adjusted and heard as soon as possible. Because I see all, there's a lot of new things, a lot of resources. And so part of that, I think, is just going to be communicating what's occurring in the classroom and bringing that out is in a timely fashion. I also want to be focusing on continued collaboration with the district, especially with decisions that affect certificated staff, teachers, service providers with their students. NMFT's members and certificated staff have indicated that it's really important to them, especially now in these times, to have a seat at the table with important decisions, and so basically continuing that relationship that we have, and more of that, please, right? So those are the three things I could think of that I wanted to let you know I'm going to be focusing on. Other than that, I hope, thank you for in advance for all the work we're going to do together this year, and for the luncheon, the staff luncheon that's very, very nice. And I also look forward to participating, and a bunch of members participating in the SOS breakfast, the State of the Schools breakfast. That's really exciting. So cheers to a great year.
Thank you. Right, now we move to community input on non-agendized items.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items not on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on non-agenda topics are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. By order of the Brown Act, Section 54954.2, the board will take no action nor have any discussion on non-agendized items. The superintendent may provide clarification during superintendent's comments.
Okay, thank you. First, we have Heba Shoeblack.
Good evening, and thank you, President Bartow, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Smith, Cabinet, and members of the community. My name is Heba Shoeblack, and I'm the founder and director of Active Learning. We had the pleasure of providing enrichment services in dance this summer, and I'm here to express my gratitude and joy for these partnership opportunities. A huge thank you to Kathleen Leary and Lori Hoggard, and to all of you for supporting such rich activities. It was abundantly clear that the summer program was meticulously designed in all its aspects. From the daily schedules to the final culminating projects, every minute detail was structured for success. On the last day, we surveyed our students and we asked them, what's your favorite memory of the summer camp? And students expressed meeting new friends, building science projects, playing sports, and of course, performing on stage. So I really look forward to continuing and expanding our partnership. And I wanted to leave you all with my favorite memory, which was watching the students' excitement and happiness, dancing and performing. So I'm going to leave you with something that you'll receive. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next we have April Murray.
Good evening, board members. Tonight I'll be addressing my daughter's U.S. history book, The American Pageant. History textbooks are influenced by the ideological, moral, and political beliefs of the authors. Their language and context used to articulate knowledge to the reader influences and forms their understanding of our history. Every student in this district should have the reasonable expectation that the text provided be historically accurate, free of bias, and that any controversial issues be fairly and equally represented in balanced manners. I began skimming through my daughter's history book last night, beginning with the last chapter, our most recent history, and what masquerades itself as a history textbook is in fact a liberal, agenda-driven propaganda tool culminating with personal hate-filled attacks on former Republican presidents. Regardless of political preference, bias of any kind does not belong in our curriculum. Here are just 5 of the 30-plus liberal aspersions against one former president from that chapter. Quote, he was a swaggering colossus of ignorance, vanity, and vulgarity, a sexual predator guilty of sexual misconduct, had a cavalier disregard for the facts, the most unprepared and least qualified person to be president, slimed his fellow Republicans. The authors are also point out that his supporters, the quote-unquote from the book, racists and homophobes, helped place him in office. The authors couldn't contain their contempt for President Trump, but in fact, the authors denigrated every Republican president in the book. But even more disheartening was how they demonized conservative Christians. For example, the text in chapter 38.9, titled The Religious Right, refers to Christians as aggressive political advocates for conservative causes, and then goes on to say, quote, several leaders of the religious right fell from grace, once tearfully admitted to repeated trysts with prostitutes. Conversely, chapter 39.9, titled Scandal and Impeachment, it refers to President Bill Clinton's affair with Monica Lewinsky as a peccadillo. For clarity, a tryst is a romantic rendezvous between lovers, and a peccadillo is a small and important offense or sin. The Education and Research Institute, founded in 1974, reviewed the American Pageant book and identified over 300 errors that are either misleading or incorrect and heavily driven by identity politics. Even the Second Amendment in this textbook includes a liberal edit. It reads, "A well-regulated militia necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, example, for military purposes, shall not be infringed." The School Board Policy 6144 states that regarding controversial issues, that all sides of the issue are to be given a proper hearing and using established facts as primary evidence. This textbook has failed to establish facts as primary evidence in support of their liberal bias. I'm not here to ask you to ban the book. I know you're not going to. I just want to wake parents up and demand answers. Why did you all approve a left-leaning history book that's not completely rooted in facts?
Thank you. Next, we have Haley Jenkins.
Hello, Superintendent Smith, President Bartow, and members of the board. I'm here tonight to discuss the LGBTQ resource page on the Newport Harbor High School website. Many of you may already be familiar with this issue, but just to recap, Newport Harbor has a resource page for LGBTQ students that lists their supporting clubs, single-stall bathrooms on campus, and school mental health professionals, and that's great. However, up until last week, it also had Trevor Space, which hosts sexual chat rooms for kids, and a link to the OC LGBTQ Transitions Wellness page. So I appreciate your help, President Bartow, in getting those pages removed. Yet still today, the page has a link to LGBTQ affirming therapies and 2 other separate links to the same site under different wording. What's on this site? A child can be paired with pediatricians that will discuss and provide them with various options for obtaining hormones and how to delay puberty. They can attend events hosted by the UCI Gender Diversity Program, where they can meet and greet the surgeons, receive chest binders, and discuss options for having their breasts and other private parts removed or altered. On here, they can even receive legal advice from lawyers to help them change their names on paperwork. And we can all agree that Newport-Mesa should be accepting of all students, and they are. But your job as district leaders is to protect children from harm, whether it be from a school shooter, a faulty playground swing set, a librarian grooming young children, or an organization that seeks to medically alter these young people. I don't care how long Newport-Mesa has worked with this organization in the past. There has to be a line drawn from what is and is not acceptable for your schools to be promoting to students. You need to take a serious look into what your schools and clubs like the Inclusion Council there are providing to children under the umbrella of support. Any child on their own can Google affirming therapies. The school does not need to be aiding in this process. God forbid a child is medically injured by these hormone therapies or worse. President Bolton back there is all for this site, believing it's not harming anyone because nobody's being forced to use it. But just having it up there is giving his and your stamp of approval. I ask that you please read all the resources on this site, as well as what the clubs like the Inclusion Council are promoting, and take these specific ones down. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Alicia B.
Good evening, Superintendent Smith, President Bartow, and fellow board members. The district has adopted a gender support plan to affirm students with gender dysphoria, commonly referred to as transgender. I was appalled to learn recently that parental consent is not a consistent practice within this district, which is unethical and contrary to guidelines by organizations such as the American Psychological Association. As I've mentioned in past meetings, I am a licensed educational psychologist and have supported families with a range of needs, including those with gender dysphoria or those who are socially influenced by gender identity ideology. Psychologists, as guided by the APA, are encouraged to acknowledge and explore the responsibilities as they help parents make decisions about the health of their child and adolescents. So it's our responsibility to help parents focus on the needs of their children and to maintain family bonds to lead to best outcomes for our children. The district admission undermines parental rights and threatens the well-being of children and the fundamental right of parents to direct the care and upbringing of their children. You are acting unlawfully. Student privacy from parents under federal and California law is a direct interference of parental rights related to educational records and information. To purport that maintaining student privacy from parent compromises student safety is not your responsibility. It isn't. You are not competent in making these decisions. In the absence of documented evidence from abuse or neglect involving child protective services or the court system, the school should assume that parents have their best interests at heart. You educators are truly posing the greatest risk to safety of our children. You're not qualified, as I previously stated, to assess the consequences of social transitioning and the medical interventions that gender dysphoric students may desire or demand. Therefore, your exclusion of parents results in harms caused to vulnerable children, including the interference of healthy development and medical risks. This places you at a liability for the risks potentially assumed. I encourage you, please, to reevaluate your practice and adopt a consistent practice that engages parents in all decision makings, but specifically when it is in regards to sexuality and gender identity. Side note, I have 19 seconds. So I ask you to stop also administering medical procedures as related to COVID-19, including the testing of unverified vaccinated employees. Procedures and products being administered required informed consent under law. Your employees are under duress. Thank you.
We now move to Nadine.
Did you say Nadine?
I did, Nadine.
Can you guys hear me? Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, Dr. Smith, President Bartow, and esteemed guests. I am a teacher with 18 years experience, and I'm here again to talk about COVID weekly testing. I was praying we would not have to weekly test anymore. I had high hopes, especially after hearing that LA Unified, the second largest school district of the United States, dropped its weekly testing of staff. I had high hopes when the CDC relaxed COVID guidelines stating that unvaccinated people now have the same guidance as vaccinated people, that it's no longer recommended to screen those without symptoms. And then last Friday, an email was sent saying that unvaccinated staff will continue to weekly test per the CDPH. Well, since Los Angeles is in California, how is it possible that LA Unified is not weekly testing and NMUSD is continuing? NMUSD has a non-discrimination policy and it states that one cannot be discriminated upon race, color, ancestry, national origin, immigration status, ethnic group identification, age, religion, marital or parental status, pregnancy, physical or mental disability, sex, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity or expression, or the perception of one or more of such characteristics, or association with a person or a group with one or more of these actual or perceived characteristics. But is it okay to discriminate one based on a private medical choice for a vaccine that doesn't even protect from infection or transmission? At our staff meeting yesterday, the whole theme was about unity. I will never feel united to my school, colleagues, or district anymore when I am being singled out to test. That is not unity, but divisiveness and discriminatory once again. Troy Bacon constantly sends emails about mental health awareness. You want to know how you can improve my mental health? Stop weekly testing. It has seriously harmed my mental health in a way you'll never know. On a positive note, there is one silver lining that has come about this. I have inadvertently taught my sons invaluable life lessons. I have taught them to never give in to peer pressure and to always stay true to yourself. I have taught them to stay true to your morals, values, and beliefs, even when the whole world is against you, mocking you, ridiculing you, persecuting you, belittling you, laughing at you, and shaming you. I have taught them to be strong. I have taught them to have an open mind by hearing all sides
even the sides that are censored. I have taught them to question, debate, analyze, reason, and most importantly, to hold your head up high. And those are priceless lessons that they will carry on for the rest of their lives. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Dawn Marie Stevens.
Good evening, everyone. I am here tonight to advocate for the numerous valuable Newport-Mesa Unified personnel who have been oppressed and discriminated against since last October. The district forced weekly COVID testing on staff who did not get the COVID shot most of last school year. This testing was done under duress and coercion. By this compulsory testing on only one segment of district employees, Newport-Mesa caused undue stress, divisiveness, disrespect, and hostile work environments. The district is planning to oppress and discriminate against these same employees again this school year, starting tomorrow. We all know that the COVID shots have not prevented infection or transmission of the virus. Even our president recently contracted COVID after being fully vaccinated and boosted. Where is the medical freedom of my body, my choice, when it comes to refusing the COVID shot and COVID testing? In Newport-Mesa, it's been non-existent. The CDC recently made changes to their guidelines, dropping the testing, although the CDPH has not yet done so. However, these are guidelines. I'm asking each one of you to do your part to put an end to the bigotry, the maltreatment, the mental, emotional abuse. Stop the tyranny. In other words, terminate the unreasonable, involuntary testing of the Newport-Mesa Unified School District personnel who have different perspectives, viewpoints, health conditions, and excellent reasons for making their decisions. Instead, treat them with the respect they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last comment is Michelle Murphy.
Good evening. I'm Michelle Murphy. I'm the president of the Kaiser Woodland PFO, and I am here representing our work as well as I Love STEM. Good evening, all, by the way. I was writing my notes, so you know I'm always discombobulated. But so I'm just here today because, as you may know, I know you're having a staffing shortage. I know you're experiencing challenges hiring folks. But I would just make a small plea to you all that our PFO raised a little bit over $400,000 last year, and our STEM, We Love STEM group raised a little over $100,000 last year. And so we are in an excellent opportunity to hire a really well-qualified STEM teacher for Kaiser and Woodland. And unfortunately, because of some delays with HR and district hiring, she may take another position. So I'm here because she needs a job and wants to be employed, understandably. So I'm here to say to you tonight, if you can help move anything along in that direction, urge some folks to hire as quickly as possible, we would really appreciate it. We would really hate to lose out on this opportunity to hire a really well-qualified STEM teacher. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. With that, we move on to superintendent's comments.
Yeah, just a few things with regard to the history selection read. I'll have Carrie follow up and see if that's one of our adopted material. We'll start then and have Carrie contact the individual. I'll report back to you. It was mentioned regarding the Inclusion Council already that it is not the LGBTQ plus club, but the Inclusion Council, and that the district has an obligation to help every student feel safe and supported. Students have requested resources on that site. Staff have reviewed those resources and will continue to work with their community in doing that. The gender support plan and student privacy, there was a legal opinion given. I won't offer one of those, but we continue to take student privacy very seriously, as do in this district parent input. So we'll continue down those roads. As far as LAUSD, I can't speak to that, but it really, for us, doesn't matter. CDPH has not changed the mandate. We hope that they do. The testing requirement is still in place for our employees. As soon as that changes, we will pivot immediately and do what we're allowed to do with regard to that. And then with regard to staffing, that hadn't come to my attention. I'll certainly follow up with HR and see where we are with that. You know, it's one thing to recruit because the market is difficult. It's another thing if you've recruited and they're there, that processing gets in the way. So I'll work with HR, and I can follow up with you on that as well. That's it.
Thank you. Now we move to community input on agendized items.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. Speaker cards for items on the discussion action calendar may be held until that item is considered by the board if the speaker prefers.
Okay, we have 2 comments, both Wendy Lease. Wendy, would you prefer to speak now or would you prefer, thank you. And 3, well, yeah.
Good evening, Board President Bartow and Superintendent Smith, members of the board. I have been a taxpayer of Newport-Mesa Unified School District for 50 years. All 5 of my children at one time or other did attend Newport-Mesa schools. And I was on the Newport-Mesa School Board from 94 to 02. I was also on the city council. So as a very interested taxpayer, I know how to read an agenda and I like to read reports, especially when it comes to money. So I've got 5 items on the consent calendar, well, 4 on the consent calendar and 1 on the action. On 19B 1 and 2, it looks like you are approving 2 organizations. One is the Book List and the other one is Horn Book Incorporated. To me, it looks like maybe they're going to be looking at library books. And if you recall, there were some of us from Newport-Mesa Uncensored. We asked you to form a citizens committee to allow citizens to review library books. We had a petition that was online. And so it behooves you to ask, who are these people that are going to be reviewing the library books, and do they have the same values as the Newport-Mesa community? Do they represent us who are paying the taxes that support the $400 million for this school district? I appreciate your service. I know you don't get paid very much, so I know the time that you put in. But if this is where this hiring a consultant to review the library books, I have a real problem with that. How are we going to be sure that we're going to get the same values in the review that represents our community? The other thing is, again, it's a WestEd professional development. I think it's a waste of money. We have 7 assistant superintendents. We pay Dr. Smith a lot of money. Why do we need more consultants to do staff development to teach people how to be leaders? That's what they went to school for. They get like $250K, so they should know how to be a leader. Also, I'm really disappointed in this Turnitin that identifies plagiarism. We need to restore values in this district and character development. And to that point, I'll conclude with, when you're looking at the Irvine Endowment money that I was part of in the 90s to approve the use of that, how about adding character development so that kids don't want to plagiarize or steal, that they are taught the values of protecting somebody else's work. Also, music and art. Those are my contributions. Thank you.
Thank you. We next have Speaker Michelle Murphy on 19.
You can't read my handwriting.
Yeah, that looks like 19A 20.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, busy day, but I'll be brief. Well, that makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I know, sure, I'll be back. So anyways, back again with some of the funding that we use for Kaiser Woodland. Like I mentioned, about $400,000 that the PFO raises every year. And we use a good deal of that money for our software and hardware. Well, smaller portion of hardware now. I will say thank you to the board. You provide most of the hardware. It's very, very small. But we still provide software and funding for licenses such as Lexia, AR, a couple different programs that the students and the principals ask for every year. It costs us about close to, I don't know, $45,000 to provide those software licenses for our 2 schools. And so I know that our teachers know how hard we work to raise that money. I know the community knows how hard we work to raise that money. And so I find that when a teacher or principal comes to us and says that they need something like that, and it's a significant amount of money, it must be quite important. So I would just ask that you make sure that for the schools that aren't able to raise the kind of money that Kaiser Woodland is able to raise, that you're able to find ways to make sure that they have access to all of those extracurricular materials, all those support systems, online services like Lexia that really we found and our teachers have verified that they really do help the students learn and become more English proficient and reading proficient. It's a big deal in the district. I know you all know that. And so whatever we can do to work on that together, be happy to talk to any of you about it. But it has made a difference at Kaiser Woodland, and I hope that that happens across the board in the district. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we move to number 17, report on career technical education.
Great. I'm taking that one personal. I'm taking this one personal. Good evening. So we are very excited this evening to have a educational report presented by our very most dynamic CTE team. I am proud to introduce this evening our Director of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Mike Shaka, our CTE career coordinator, Lisa Snowden, and Annie Younglove, who rounds out the team, who is our analyst, who's going to together present and share with you some of the amazing outcomes and programs that we have in our career and technical education program. Dr. Shaka.
Thank you, President Bartow, members of the board, our esteemed Superintendent, Dr. Smith, Executive Cabinet, and all the guests who join us today. If we can get the presentation. And there we go.
Like magic.
Also, if I can interrupt for just a moment, wanted to let you know in front of you have a blue folder. We have so much information for you. There's additional in there that's not necessarily the presentation you're seeing, but provides you additional resources.
Thank you.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about career technical education, commonly referred to as CTE, so another acronym for you to sit on. Career technical education, some of us might remember as vocational education, but it is not that any longer. It has changed significantly since the time certainly I was in school, and has really shifted from preparing students for what traditionally was blue-collar work to an experience of pathways that's highly relevant for our students, from everyone who wants to enter career upon graduation to a student who has aspirations to some of the most elite universities in the nation. It's relevant and valuable for all of our students. So very quickly, our agenda today, we're going to talk about what career technical education is and how it's evolved, both nationally and at Newport-Mesa. We're going to talk about the benefits of career technical education and how it really provides value both in knowledge and in skill for our students with all aspirations upon leaving Newport-Mesa. We're going to share some data with you on what our current students are doing in the career pathways. We're going to talk about the different career pathways and the different options our students have and all of the different opportunities they have across our district. We're going to talk about funding. And spoiler alert, Newport-Mesa is definitely a strong advocate in funding for career technical education. Our school board has really supported the growth and sustainability of career technical education in this district. And then finally, and arguably the most exciting, we're going to talk about what's next, what's currently happening in Newport-Mesa, and what's on the horizon in terms of growth and opportunity for our students. So with that, I'd like to introduce our college and career education team, two of which are with us today. They're going to share a little bit more detail about what's happening with CTE in Newport-Mesa right now. we have Lisa Snowden and Ann Younglove, who are going to share a little bit more detail. And Lisa's going to give a little bit more introduction, but I would also like to welcome and thank Brian Dozer, our superintendent of RLP, who's here to support and be with us, who's been a fantastic community partner.
Oops, wrong way. Good evening, President Bartow, board members, Superintendent Smith, Executive Cabinet, and distinguished guests and family members. I have the pleasure of talking a little bit about CTE. It is a program I feel really does change lives, and so it really is an honor to be here with you today. As Mike mentioned, 30 years ago, vocational education didn't have courses that were aligned to college, right? So our courses today are rigorous. In fact, 90% of our CTE courses meet the UC CSU A to G requirement, and we are pushing for 100% of that. Our courses are relevant. A lot of the pathways and courses we offer do align with the high demand sectors here in our region. We want our students to be able to graduate with these amazing career opportunities ahead of them. We want them to be prepared, and we want that qualified and talented pool to stay here in Orange County. So we're excited about the relevancy there. As Mike mentioned, our partnership with Coastline ROP is so valuable. Thank you so much to Dr. Dozer and his staff. Because of that, our students are able to explore many more career opportunities, whether it be after school, during the day, in the summer, or online. They earn industry-recognized certifications, and they also have the opportunity to gain valuable work experience via internships. And we know work-based learning and internships is where it's at. We also provide students with a lot of support in other ways for college and career readiness. We have College and Career Night that happens every year. We've got one coming up in October. We're in our second year of School Links implementation, which is our college and career readiness platform. And we also make a concerted effort to bring in business and industry into our classrooms so that they can mentor our students and inspire our students to a career. So you can't mention CTE without technology, right? T stands for technical. So a lot of our courses, a lot of our programs have a lot of industry standard, technology-rich labs. We want our students to learn on the equipment so they're prepared for the workforce, if that's the choice they want to take right after graduation, or they're prepared for that advanced training in their post-secondary education. For example, we have a patient, in our patient care pathway, we have a mannequin, a simulation mannequin in that bottom left corner. And the teacher can program that mannequin in a variety of different distress scenarios so that the students can then think critically, conduct an appropriate patient assessment, and then apply the correct life-saving measures to that. So I certainly want them practicing on that before they practice on me, right? In the middle top picture there, that isn't any ordinary laptop. That is what's called a Z-Space laptop. We have those in our patient care programs along with our anatomy and physiology teachers. And what that does is imagine wearing a special pair of glasses and using a stylus and being able to view different parts of the human body and the body systems. And instead of just viewing that in a two-dimensional aspect, being able to pull that out of that screen and kind of almost like holding a heart or a brain or an eye in your hand and being able to look at it at different angles. So it's very engaging for our students, and it's a really great learning tool. Teachers are in their second year of implementation, and so we really look forward to the continued training on that and to see some of the cross-curricular projects they're going to develop because of this shared technology. Our students also develop leadership skills, and they do that in a variety of ways. Right? CTE is a connection to the workplace, connection to industry. So a lot of classrooms are actually run like they're a workplace. So they take on workplace roles, whether it's a head chef at a restaurant or a project manager in an engineering firm, or maybe it's a stage manager in our technical theater class. So the students have opportunities to kind of build up those skills there. We also have 3 state-approved career technical student organizations. We've got FCCLA, which covers our culinary program, HOSA, which is our patient care program, and DECA, which is our business management program. And here the students are elected as officers. They run chapter meetings every month. They attend leadership conferences every year. And at those leadership conferences, they have an opportunity to compete against other students in the state in that specific content area. So we did have students from our patient care pathway program at Estancia in the HOSA chapter. They did recently participate this past spring in the HOSA Leadership Conference, and we had 4 of their students place in the top 10, and there were 45,000 students that competed, right? And then they get to dress up in their blazers, and they feel really good, and they're developing their skills, and so it's just a really great learning experience for the students. We also make sure that our students are earning industry-recognized certifications. And these are certifications that verify mastery in a skill in a specific field. One that you're probably really familiar with is CPR, right? Everyone who works in the healthcare industry has to have that CPR certification. We have others as well. You know, if you're going to work around food, you got to have the California Food Handlers Card or ServSafe. So those are very important for our students. They're portfolio builders, and oftentimes they are required by industry when they're hiring people. So we have quite a lot of certifications we offer. 80% of our pathways have them. Our goal is to embed at least one certification in all of our pathways, but we want to take the time to do our research and make sure that we're embedding the right certification in those programs. We're also really excited about work-based learning, and work-based learning is kind of a combination of classroom instruction with sustained interactions with industry and business. And so it comes in many forms, and it looks like a continuum from low engagement or not as many, maybe not as sustained engagement, like at the field trip and guest speaker level, all the way to, you know, your pre-apprenticeships and your internships. And so we're really excited about some of the work-based learning opportunities that we've had for our students. In the bottom left picture, you may be aware that we have a pre-apprenticeship program at Estancia with our construction program. We have a partnership with the Southwest Carpenters Union, and we have 2 builders, McCarthy and the Raymond Group, who work very closely with our program. We've been able to place students directly into employment right after high school, and they've continued their training in the apprenticeship program. So that's very exciting. And then on the right there, we've got 2 recent graduates who really impressed a panel of engineers when they had to get up in front of them and kind of present a design review, a project that they did in kind of their engineering design process. They were impressed so much so that they actually offered them a summer internship. And so these 2 students got to do an internship at Over Air, which is a startup company that's local here that is working on autonomous air taxis. Right, if you're ready for that.
Cool.
And so the students were really excited about their time, and they're both headed off to college this fall. So work-based learning is also going to be a measure on the CCI, on the California School Dashboard. So we really want to make sure that we're embedding work-based learning experiences in all of our programs, but we're really aiming for that internship, pre-apprenticeship, student enterprise level in that capstone year. And we can't do all of this without our industry partnerships. I mean, that's kind of who we are, right? It's all about connection to the workplace and industry. So we're so thankful that they review our curriculum, they sit on our advisory board, they tell us what sort of equipment and technology we need to purchase so that we're staying current and relevant. And so we're super excited about that. They also provide opportunities for teacher externships, right? We want our teachers to stay current in the field as well. And so this past summer, Racine Cross in the bottom right there from Costa Mesa High School, she participated in 2 teacher externships, where she spent time at 2 different companies learning more about advanced manufacturing and aerospace engineering. And now she's super excited to bring that learning back to her students this fall. So you can kind of see, right, all of that combined really makes for a beneficial program for students, right? Students are taking classes they have an interest in. Maybe this is something they want to pursue for a career, something they want to continue on in college. It really helps solidify their post-secondary goals, keeps them connected to school, and it's just something I'm extremely passionate about, and just want to thank the board for your continued support of our CTE program. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to a CTE colleague of mine. She has also been a mentor of mine, and she has been working tirelessly on CTE in this district for a lot longer than I. Annie Younglove.
Good evening, President Bartow and Dr. Smith and board. Thank you for this opportunity. Now I'm going to put you to sleep. No. Okay, so data is really, really important to us, and we're expanding our look at data from not just a 2-year expectation, but a 5-year growth. So when you take a look at your blue graph there, you can see some ups and downs and some valleys, but the real thing I want you to look at is COVID was 1,862 kids in a virtual environment trying to teach CTE, and son of a gun, we're back up to 2,203. We've gone from pre-COVID to post-COVID, and we're on the rise. And that's for participants, and a participant is a student who has taken one CTE course or more, but at least one CTE course in high school. So those are our high school students. The green tabulation are our completers, which means they've chosen a pathway and they've gone all the way through the pathway and completed it. And so those are fantastic numbers, going from 2017 of 113 up to 222, and we grew during the virtual life of COVID. If you were to add our middle school students onto that, because this comes from CalPADS data, we had 477 middle school students this year. Of those 477, 109 took 2 courses or more. If we add up the participants and the completers and the middle school, I'm proudly to state that over 30% of the 7th through 12th grade students are taking a CTE class. That's pretty exciting for us. Okay, I gotta move this thing on. Yes, do I, right? No, I went backwards. There we go. Okay, more data. CTE courses and pathways. So we've grown from 2017 with 13 pathways up to 21. And we've gone from 52 courses, this isn't sections, courses, to 72. So fondly, because of your support, look what we're doing. We're adding new courses in new pathways in stage technology, child development, and music technology, an extra course in music tech for middle school at Costa Mesa, an emergency responder at Harbor, and you're going to hear a great story all about what's happening at Back Bay from Lisa in a minute. Now, investing in the future, this is where I really fall into homage for you all. Thank you to the board and Dr. Smith and to our leadership for supporting us and investing in career technical education. And that investment is extensive. Take a look at the top number up there. Newport-Mesa Unified School District. You got that, Jeff? Get out that calculator. That's the amount of money that you're expending for salaries and benefits for our CTE teachers, salaries and benefits for our department budget, college and career education, the robotics tournaments that are taking place during the school year, plus Coastline ROP, our connection for CTE that is offering CTE courses during the day and also pathways and courses in the evenings. So Newport-Mesa is an annual budget, and Perkins, the Carl Perkins federal funding that we write to every year, happens annually. So that Perkins money handles our staff development for all of our teachers. We choose some of our teachers that are growing in pathways to get equipment and supply for them and that. And we also use that money for enhancing instruction for our special populations. The two bubbles on either side, K-12 stands for K-12 Strong Workforce, and CTEIG is called CTIG. Those are state funds that the state has offered for us to write to. The K-12 is run through the Orange County Department of Ed. We do it in a consortium environment, and it specifically works with counselor training, as Lisa eloquently stated about our core classes and our CTE classes working together, and that handles all the opportunities for dual enrollment, articulation, et cetera. CTIG is 100%. We work for support of our student organizations, our CTSOs, our CTLOs, and equipment and supply. As you saw in those lovely pictures, we're not a cheap date. Our equipment's very expensive. K-12 and CTIG are rollover grants. So we're writing to that grant in 1 year and we have a year and a half to spend it. So the funds that you're looking at right there are not our total grant funds. That's where we stay as of August 11th. I promise, Jeff. As of August 11th. And a lot of that's disappearing right now because we're in the middle of purchasing more equipment. So that's a sum total of all your excitement, and thank you again for the opportunity, and really thank you so much for your support. Lisa. Whoop, right behind.
Thank you so much, Annie. I'm so glad she's the numbers person and not me. But we're really trying to utilize all these different funding streams to make sure that our programs are high quality, right? We've got the 12 elements of a high quality CTE system. We want to make sure that we're working towards that. So, we've done a lot of expansion, as you've seen in the data. So we're really going to be focusing not just on expansion, but really program evaluation and making sure that we are utilizing those funds to, to ensure our high quality program. But we do have some extremely exciting growth opportunities to share with you that are starting this year. So we're very excited that T-Winkle moved to their 7-period day because now they can take even more electives. And so we're really excited. We have a teacher who obtained his CTE credential and did some summer training this summer. So he's going to be bringing or restoring back the design and modeling section or course. So we're very excited about that, essentially doubling the amount of CTE sections for this year because of that. And then we plan to restore green architecture and medical detectives because he has more training to do in order to teach that in the 23-24 school year. So because of that, we're investing some new funds in a new computer lab and some 3D printers. So we're really excited about all the opportunities for T-Winkle and really look forward to working with Dr. Sanchez there on even, what more can we do, right? What's next? Also excited, we've been working closely with our Coastline ROP partner and Kathleen Leary and Michelle O'Neill with our Early Learning Department. We are adding a capstone course to the Child Development Pathway at Costa Mesa High School. And in this capstone course, students in the second semester are going to apply their learning in an internship, actually interning in our district's preschools. Right, that is super exciting for us. They're going to learn CPR before they go out there, and this is going to be valuable work experience. They can really make a decision whether they want to stay at that child development, early childhood learning, or if maybe they want to become an elementary or a secondary teacher. And so we're really trying to build an educator pipeline here in our district, and this is really exciting news. We do know that college, right, is always so expensive, and it gets more expensive every year. But there are so many high-demand, high-wage careers that only require a certificate or a 2-year program. So we're really trying to promote that by fast-tracking our students through to a career using early college credit opportunities. So whether that be articulation or dual enrollment, students are earning high school credit while they're earning college credit. So they're really able to kind of get a head start on their education and career goals. And I'm happy to report that we are starting our first CTE dual enrollment program. It's in partnership with Coastline College. It's an Animation and Gaming Foundation certificate. It's a 2-year program, 4 college courses. And at the end of that, they will receive a certificate where they can gain employment as an entry-level animator. So that is really, really exciting. And last but certainly not least, we are so excited and want to thank the board for their vision and support in creating this CTE pathway at Back Bay High School. It's going to be a business management pathway. We are partnering with our industry partner, Spider 3D. They're providing us with a Spider Lab. That Spider Lab is state-of-the-art graphic media production technology, such as a direct-to-garment printer, a large format printer, an embroidery machine, laser engraver, 3D printers, the whole works, right? Students in this pathway are going to learn business skills, entrepreneurial mindset. They're going to be learning how to use this equipment. They're going to be earning industry standard certifications, and they're going to be designing, creating, manufacturing, and maybe even installing, right, some of the products that they are going to be selling to their clients. So it's going to be a student-run enterprise. We're extremely excited. And on top of that, they're going to receive some mentoring through this program. So we're just super thrilled. And I just want to thank, there are so many people that kind of, CTE wants to make sure that we thank everyone who has worked on this, because this it's a lot to do in such a short amount of time, and we're getting it done, and it's so exciting. And so I just want to thank everyone for their support. All the departments had a hand in this, so thank you so much. And when the school year settles and they're kind of up and running, we definitely want to make sure we invite you at different times to come view the lab and the students in action. So just a link of some resources here for you. They're all linked. For those in the audience, if you wanted to take a picture of the QR code, that'll take you right to our CTE page where you can learn more. And with that, we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you so much. This is so impressive. I'm involved at the Coastline ROP, so I have an idea of what we're up to, but just seeing it all laid out like this is amazing. Any questions? Trustee Wygand?
I just want to say thank you so much for this presentation, everything you do for CTE. I know it's what I hear from parents or from people that are hiring this day is that they need people that have business and skills ready for employment right out of high school, and we're giving them that right now. So I think that's a goal of ours as a board, is to make sure that they have skills that lead them to the next level, whatever that may be, where it's college or career. And so I think it's just awesome that we were able to give them both. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Matoye and then Trustee Anderson.
And in a different light, but the same idea. By saying that we have 80%, I think that was your currently A through G, and then 90. I knew it was a big number. But we're looking toward 100%. For anyone who's listening, that doesn't mean we expect 100% of our students to go to college and get a degree that we can't be employed by. So what we are saying is every course that we have is applicable and eligible to go to college. And what we're doing is giving our students choices. Yes. So while we're not trying to push someone into college, we don't want to prevent them from going because we have a course that doesn't qualify. So we just want to make sure all of our courses qualify. So, and this is exciting to see the growth, because 80% of our CTE courses are obsolete in 10 years. So we have to give our students skills that they can take and use anywhere. And the courses that we're offering won't go stale. So thank you both all so much.
Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. I had a question about process. I have some Estancia students that I had talked to that had friends at Mesa, and they're very jealous of the child development track at Mesa. What does the process look like for eliciting student response, and then how long does it take maybe after that to start a program at a school?
I'll answer that. You're asking how long from idea to actually creating a pathway at a school?
Or a second pathway, yes. So it's not a whole new program.
That's a great question. The short answer is it depends. So I will use Back Bay as an example. Back Bay, the need and opportunity arose very quickly, and in a matter of months, we were able to create and have the pathway up and operating. So a short period of time. Other pathways, a little bit longer, because we do want to make sure that, one, we connect the pathway to actual jobs that are going to exist. Two, that it's student interest. Three, that we're able to accommodate the infrastructure, and that we have the right people and program to meet that need. So it can take a little bit longer. There's no exact timeline, but I think we've shown this year that when desire meets idea and creativity, it can happen very quickly.
Thank you. So do you do in the fall, do you ask students, like, what would you be interested in taking for the next year? Or what does it look like on the student side? How would they share that that's something that they want? How are they surveyed?
So Lisa has done some tremendous work moving school links forward, and school links from 7th grade all the way up through their senior year. We do a variety of career aptitude and career interest surveys with the students, so that data is always looked at to see where our students, our interests lie, and then how we connect that to industry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Yelsey, and then Trustee Crane.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here listening to this report, and I am so impressed by everything that you've done, Dr. Shaka, Lisa, and Annie Younglove, because I think back, I clearly know the timing, because it's when I first came on the school board and everybody was talking about, oh, you have to know about CTE, and that was in 2006 when we first started with programs. And I appreciate everything you've done. I think it's remarkable because not only have we taken the things that we started back then, but how it's grown is just, looking at this is mind-blowing, and I'm looking at Annie shaking her head. She should get a lot of the credit for this because she's been involved from very back.
You lasted. It's not that you're old, you've lasted. Carol.
Trustee Crane.
Yes, in addition to all the comments, I'm also very impressed with the depth of scope of our partnerships with our private sector, how we're connecting our kids to our private sector, and they're seeing the value of the next generation. I think that's priceless. And it's also the fact that we're also setting up our kids to not necessarily be in college debt, because I know college debt is a big thing. And so if you can get ahead and earn some units before you graduate, or by the time you graduate, then you're also saving money. And so which is setting you up for more success, because you're not graduating from college with a big, college debt. So that's huge as well. And I happen to be at Early College High School, and Dr. Martinez, you're in the back there. Was that one of the dual enrollment that Dr. Torres spoke about a few months ago in our partnership? Is that digital graphics arts program, was that part of that dual enrollment where students in our district after school can actually sign up for a certification path within 4 classes? Is that the one and that we have? That's amazing too. What you're doing is you're offering an opportunity for our kids after school to be able to succeed and tack on to their future success. So thank you. It's excellent. You're really setting our kids up for success, and we really appreciate all of our partners from the district level to the private and partnerships, and also, of course, CROP.
And every parent is excited if their kid will get a job. That's a really good thing.
And we're looking for talent. So this is a perfect market for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. We now move on to 18A, School Safety Task Force Update. Dr. Jacob, there we are.
Good evening. We just wanted to come before you tonight and give you an update in terms of kind of the school safety task force. Sarah Coley and Jonathan Wilby have been leading that effort on behalf of the district, and they're going to give just a brief update of all of the stuff that's been going on, so that as we start the school year, the board and the community is aware of where we are in the process. So I'd welcome Jonathan and Sarah up.
We're a little ahead. There we go. Good evening, Superintendent Smith, President Bartow, board. Great to see you this evening, as well as executive cabinet and guests. So as Dr. Jacob mentioned, we are here tonight to provide just a brief update about the safety work that we've been doing over the summer in regards to the task force. So first, just wanted to jump right in and share that we have reinstated our district safety webpage. So it was something that was under construction for a while, and really during COVID, we wanted to make sure that everything was relevant, and so we took some time to make sure that it was really updated. And so everything that we will be working on, including the presentation tonight, will be posted on that webpage to make sure that the public has access, and really there's a lot of transparency in the work that we're doing in regards to safety, and that we're sharing out the things that we can. So we'll continue to update this as we continue with the task force work, but just wanted to share that this will be the main hub for the public and for our community and our families to really access that safety work that we're doing. In addition to that, we've also created an internal Newport-Mesa Safety Hub that's really going to be a resource for our administrators so that they have access to everything coming out of the task force, so that they can be informed, to make sure that they know what we're doing, so that if they have questions from the community or from their families, that they have everything that we've presented and have put out. In addition, we have any sort of internal processes and protocols that come out of student services and risk management and M&O. We'll put it all in one central place, because that was really something that came out of the feedback that we received, is that it felt like, okay, I need something maybe like the threat assessment protocols, and where do I find it? And so we wanted to make sure that it was all in one place so that people could easily access it on one web page. So this will be shared with administrators as we go into the beginning of the school year, so that they have, again, like a one-stop shop to be able to access these things. We've also included the safety areas of responsibility. So to be really clear about, if I have a question about something in regards to safety, who do I call? Are they calling me? Are they calling Jonathan? Are they calling Lance? And so it's really clear so that they know, immediately who they can contact if they need any sort of support. And as you know, and thank you for those of you who were able to make it out and to support our community forums, we did host 4 in-person community forums, 1 per zone, as well as a virtual forum that was in the morning. We also hosted a thought exchange, and it was a really great opportunity for our communities to come out. We had staff, we had a number of teachers who came out, we had classified staff, we had parents who came out, we had administrators who came out. It was a really great time for everybody to come. We facilitated an activity to really gather their input under the areas of prevention, response, policy, and facilities. And so the community was able to share with us where were the areas of strengths that they noticed, as well as the areas of need, and then they were able to spend their dot on the areas that they felt were most important to them. You'll also see up here that we did get the results of our thought exchange, and we had great participation. I do want to acknowledge the Newport Harbor Zone for both the in-person forum as well as the thought exchange, had the most people come out and really gave us their feedback. But it was, again, a really great opportunity for us to engage with community members as well as our families to really hear their feedback regarding safety. And then, as you know, too, we've established our task force, and so we have a variety of stakeholders, and we feel like it's a really well-rounded group that's representing a lot of different voices in our district. So we have Jonathan as the Director of Risk Management, myself as the Director of Student Services, we have Lance as the Director of Maintenance and Operations, Kent as the Coordinator of Energy and Compliance, we have Dr. Bolton as our secondary representative, we have Christy Flores as our elementary principal representative. We also have a member from NMFT as well as CSEA who've come out. Thank you to Sarah for attending as well. We do have parents who are on the committee or on the task force, so we have at least 1 parent per zone representing the elementary, intermediate, and high school levels. I also really want to acknowledge and express our appreciation too for our students. So we have our student board members. So we have 4 student board members who have joined the task force. So they've come and they shared, their student voice, which is really great for us to hear. And we're really grateful that they gave up their evening, especially the first meeting right in the summer, to come out and talk to us about safety. We also have our school resource officers. So we have 1 per zone or 1 per city who sits on the task force. We also have our fire marshal, 1 per city, who's on the task force, as well as our technical expert. So we did host our first meeting on August 9th. It was a great meeting. We had, I think, almost everybody. There was a few people who had told us that they weren't able to attend because something came up, but everybody came out, and we had a really great conversation, and we're able to really launch into this work and really frame what the next 3 meetings are going to look like. So want to express our gratitude for those who were able to come out and for just their honesty and for really sharing with us how they feel, but also for being committed to this work.
Good evening. Sarah and I, we're really excited about the work we get to do around safety and emergency preparedness right now, and especially the work we're doing with the task force and being able to engage all these stakeholders from all these various different interests in one task force like this. So I want to go into a little more detail about the first meeting and then also talk to you about a little of the other work that we've been doing over the summer to get us to a point opening schools that we're in an even more safe place than we were to begin with. I do want to say this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're just getting started in this task force, and really we expect that we're going to be bringing things in front of the board regularly that end up making their way through the task force and come out the task force ready for you. But do want to talk to you a little bit about the first meeting. It was really a foundational meeting to really set the stage and set the foundation for the rest of the meetings to come over the next 3 months. We did some introductions. We talked about why we were there, which was really good to hear from all the task force members, what brought them there. And we also brought the community stakeholder feedback into the task force to bring everyone up to speed on those meetings and what the trends were that came out of those meetings. One of the things that we really dove into that was a big topic was the I Love You Guys standard response protocols. And that was something that this district piloted in some of our schools prior to COVID. It was very well received, but then COVID happened and it never went to being fully implemented within our schools. So we thought the task force and now emerging somewhat from COVID so that we can spend time doing some other things besides what we've done the last couple of years was a perfect opportunity to reintroduce this. So we had a really powerful presentation that was over Zoom by John Michael Keyes. He's the founder of the I Love You Guys. And if you don't know John Michael's story, it's a powerful one. He lost his daughter in a school violence, active violence in a school in 2006. And he told his story. He told the story of how the I Love You Guys was founded and then gave details on what the I Love You Guys standard response protocols is all about. And it comes down to 5 emergency actions: hold, secure, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter. And it's creating a consistent language that can be used during emergencies so that you get people to act on what they need to act on. It's much more nimble than the historical ways of preparing for emergencies, which was identifying every emergency you could possibly have and having step-by-step instructions that the emergency never goes exactly as planned. So this gives you some ability to adjust based on what happens during the emergency. So we were really excited about that. That was towards the end of our meeting, and we're going to bring that back to the next meeting as one of the topics that we're going to dive back into and talk about more. We're also looking into district-wide tip lines. Right now, we have a variety of tip lines being used throughout the district, and we're looking to identify one standardized tip line that we can roll out throughout all our school sites. Consistency is important. Creating marketing and PR campaigns around a tip line is important to really encourage use of it. And right now we're doing the groundwork to go and look into the different tip lines that are out there, identify the pros and cons, the strengths and weaknesses of those to bring into the task force, and then bring forward as far as a district-wide implementation. We're planning on implementing a tip line in the fall of 2022, so this is a priority and we're moving pretty quickly on it. We're also had our custodial staff go out and do inspections of all our doors and locks at all of our school sites. And this was us being proactive after reading the Uvalde preliminary investigation and all the discussion that came about doors and locks and maintenance plans and whether things were functioning or not functioning. We thought it was important for us to go and check every single door at every one of our schools and make sure it's operational. So prior to the first day of school, all of the doors will be checked by our custodians. We've also built it into our Williams inspections so that really it's being checked twice. Another item that we already implemented over the summer was building emergency drills and exercises into our principals checklist for compliance. So the principals checklist for compliance is a checklist that our principals use throughout the year to stay on top of all their different compliance items, and the emergency drills had never been a part of that. So the emergency drills, the drills that we do are really driven by the ed code, but this is getting it in front of the principals in one other place. We've also built Google folders that the principals will upload their reports from their drills so that now that Google report or that Google folder is shared between the principals and myself so that there's a little more oversight and communication on the drills between risk management and our school sites. That also helps me out because I can go and look at some of the trends from all the different drills we're doing, what's going well, what's not going well, and then we can make adjustments in our comprehensive school safety plans and our training and all the different things that we're doing to try to better prepare our schools for emergencies. And now Sarah will talk about next steps.
All right, so we do have 3 additional task force meetings, so one in September, October, and then our final one in November. So really the focus of the September meeting will be reviewing the information that we talked about in the first meeting. There was a lot of content for our members to digest, and so they were feeling a little bit saturated, and so we wanted to give them some time to really process through it and review everything, and so that'll be the main kind of focal point as we go into the September meeting. We are also hosting a welcome back meeting with our school resource officers. And so typically that's only been done through student services, but going into this next school year, we'll be including risk management as well as M&O and HR to make sure that all of us as district officials are really a part of the conversation with our school resource officers and having consistency, not just amongst the departments, but really amongst the cities as well. In addition to that, I do want to mention that I found out late this afternoon that our school resource officers will be on our campuses for the full week of the first week of school. So, and we're very grateful too that we're going to be able to add a 3rd SRO to Costa Mesa. So now we'll have 3 for Costa Mesa and 3 for Newport Beach, which is very exciting for us. They also will be increasing the patrols around the schools for that first week of school, not because of anything, but really just to show their presence, and also because we know there's so many more kids out on the streets walking to school and riding their bikes, and we've got more traffic around the schools. They'll just be out there as a show of support between the community and the departments as well as the school district. We also, as Jonathan mentioned, will be looking at our tip line and hopefully be making a selection as soon as possible. And then we're also looking at reviewing some of our current protocols with our technical experts. So really making sure that we're using the most current protocols, making sure that everything that we have too is easily accessible to our administrators, and then also looking at the training that we're offering to staff. And so those are really kind of the biggest next steps. This has kind of been ongoing work. We know that it's never going to stop, but it's really been a priority as we've gone into the summer and now as we go into the new school year. So we look forward to continuing the work. And again, thank you for your support and all that we've been doing. So we can open it up for any questions.
Thank you. And I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about bike safety because you alluded to it, but you've been doing so much work in that department as well.
I was going to ask you if you didn't.
I have. And so bike safety did come up very, very much so in our Newport Beach schools as well as our Corona Del Mar schools. And so I've been grateful to have the opportunity to be working with our CABs, so with our collaborative in the community, with a few of you on what our bike safety looks like as we go into the new school year. And so one thing is that Jonathan and I worked on updating the handbook language to make it very specific and to really elaborate on what the e-bike safety should look like. And so making sure that we were clear about our process and protocols, really in an effort to, again, promote that student safety. We're also working together to have some administrators come together on a committee to really be promoting that school safety. We're getting more information out to the school sites and really looking at what we can do to promote safety for our students who are specifically riding our e-bikes, really any student who's commuting to school on any sort of bike or electronic scooter, or if they're walking to school, but really looking at making sure that we're updating our protocols and really getting the message out there to keep our students safe.
Thank you. Trustee Craig.
I have a question. I'm intrigued by the tip line. How would it work? Is it something that would be an app? Would it be something that people call into, or students? Like, what are you thinking when you say tip line?
Sure.
It's a very loaded word.
It is. And so that's part of what we've been really exploring. And so as Jonathan mentioned, there's a variety of tip lines that are being used throughout the district. And so we really want to bring some consistency to that. There are some that are app-based. There are some that are call-in. But we really want to make sure that we're making an informed decision before we pick a tip line, because there's a few different ways. You know, it could be by students. It could also be by parents. It could be by the community. Some people are more comfortable calling in, but then what kind of tips are they calling in? If it's something that's app-based, is that accessible for everybody to access? And so we're really looking at a variety of factors, and really what kind of tips are we looking to be generated through that tip line. So are we looking for school-based tips? Are we looking for things that affect the school? Are we looking for things that, you know, we know we'll get things from the community? And so we really want to make sure that we're clear about which tip line we're picking. Is it something that's well-renowned? Is it something, you know, we have talked with colleagues across the county who've been using some of these tip lines, and they've shared with us some of the pros and cons. And so we've narrowed it down. And so our next step would be to start meeting with some of these organizations to see what they have to offer. And then also what kind of features. Is it something people can text into? Is it something that is app-based? Is it something you do have to call? And what would the response time be, and so on and so forth? And then who will be monitoring the tips? So we're looking at a variety of things. So that's really where we're at with it.
Because I would think safety looks different. There are a lot of ways to look at safety, whether it's safety, gun violence, for example, or actual safety in that sense, violence. But then there's also emotional safety. Would that be a suicide? That kind of thing. So that's why I wonder how broad of a tip line you're looking into.
Well, and that's something that we've seen is that, the tip lines that are currently in place, we do get, students who are expressing self-harm behavior or friends of a student who might be concerned about that. We've also had students who've shared, there's another student vaping in the bathroom, but then there's also been some, maybe that's possibly going to warrant a threat assessment. Maybe it's something about vandalism, so that it really can cover such a wide range of things that we want to make sure that we're picking the best one to fit the needs that we have and making sure that we establish a really clear system for how people can access that.
Trustee Metoyer? Yes, that would be me. I picked up my phone when you said, okay, we've got it on the website, because typically when it's someone, we made it really easy, and I've never had our website be really easy. So I just wanted to make sure. And it is listed on the very front page of the website, there's school safety. And if you can't get it from an easy way to find it, then it isn't. So thank you. And thank you for getting it that was to Annette Franco, our PIO, who puts things on the webpage for us right now. It really is important to get there fast, because we don't usually peruse the website or look for something unless there's a problem. Oh, I don't have anything to do tonight. Let's look at Newport Mesa's webpage. I'll see what I can find out. That doesn't happen. So, and speaking with my principal hat on, anything you can do with a checklist so that you can clearly see what have I done, what haven't I done, oops, oh, that's a week late, that's okay. Get it done, and then, all is good. And so anything you can help our principals with, because our principals are amazing, and we have a tendency to go, well, they can do it, and then there is a tipping point on that too. So thank you for that, and thank you for not having the big book that listed every possible it was scary, people. Yeah. As a principal, you get a book and you never once thought about a boat coming on a ship coming on shore and crashing into a pier, or an airplane blowing up on your kid's campus. That's not anything I ever thought of when I became a principal. So it's good to say, here's the response if something happens. It probably won't be that. So thank you very much. No, that's not going to happen. They apparently just land on freeways, and that's the way. That's okay.
91. Trustee Wiegand.
Thank you for doing this. I know that it calms a lot of parents' minds as we start the school year, knowing that our district's on top of these things. And I know will be a report out at the end of this, but what are we doing right now? So, school starts on Monday for our parents and our community to feel very safe and secure, besides, door locks and making sure that those all work. But what other things?
Sure.
SROs.
So, we do have our comprehensive school safety plans that we're making sure that all of our principals feel very comfortable with reviewing with their staff. I think the biggest part that we've heard from those community forums is really just the communication and the transparency. And so making sure that we have presentations like this in the hands of the principals so that they can share that out with their families so that they know, because that's something that we heard a lot of is, you guys are doing a lot. We just didn't necessarily know about it. And we said, you're right. So we want to make sure that they have these things in place, and then really looking at what types of drills are we doing, making sure that we are being very intentional about it, but then us being available to provide them the support. And so, like I mentioned, we're also looking through our threat assessment protocols, making sure that everything is really up to date and that everything is really easily accessible. And so I think there's a lot of background, but again, just making sure that our parents know that we're working on those things to make sure that we're continuing. And we feel that our schools were safe, but to continue to improve the safety that is felt throughout the community.
Thank you. And I know, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
The information for the principals, that actually came out of a meeting that we had with our principals where we asked them, what information do you need going into the upcoming school year to be able to communicate to your families? So we did get their input so that we could directly provide them and feed them the information so that they could do their messaging.
Thank you so much. And I know from, reading all of the reports of school violence that there are signs early on. So that tip line or just parents understanding what they can do and where they can go, I think will be very crucial.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I apologize, I had to step away real quick to the restroom. We had a long, lengthy closed session. Is our plan going forward with school site councils? I remember back when I was part of a school site council, we reviewed the safety plans with our principals and kind of got feedback from parents.
That still continues to be the plan. We know that some of our schools need a little support with establishing their school site councils, and so that's where we will just continue to be here to help to support and help them to brainstorm ideas, to get parents involved, to get teachers involved. We know that it can be difficult, but also promoting some creativity on that to make sure that we are providing opportunities for all parents to feel like they can be a part of reviewing what's out there, and again, that transparency, but then encouraging them to come to those meetings.
Thank you. Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. That's an excellent question. I've actually had the most questions about these from dads in my area. And so I wonder if we could like send a text. We could make sure that we like not just do website and email, but text parents, which is often the easiest way to communicate with a lot of folks. But I really have had a lot of dads ask me questions about gates and parking lots and all of that. And I think we would also maybe get some other parents who maybe haven't engaged in the past in other things. They're really passionate about this topic.
Yeah, I think that's great. And that's something that we've, again, been talking with our principals about, is that really our school communities want to hear from their site leaders. They don't necessarily want to, they want to hear from us, but not as much as they want to hear directly from their principals. And so making sure that we're helping to support them with, okay, what's the best way to reach your communities? And so that's where, I think Jonathan and I have been able to share some of those ideas. And then as far as the facilities part, that's why we've made sure that we have a lot of people a part of that task force, just so that everybody who this touches is actually in the room, and it's not us hearing it and then trying to communicate it back and then maybe missing a piece, but making sure that everybody who's relevant to the conversation is there.
Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing future reports. Thank you for your good work. We have a brief legislative update, which I will provide from our lobbyists. As many of you know, August is rather a slow month up in Sacramento, but I have 3 bills that have been requested. People wanted to know about, I neglected to write it this, okay. For AB 1940, for school-based health centers, sometimes I can't read my own writing. School-based health centers, in the past, it had been the priority would be to schools who had a unduplicated count closer to 50%. That's now been moved to give priority to greater than 55%. It is expected to reach the governor's desk. The apportionment of those funds would be coming from the Appropriations Committee, as it's not currently part of the adopted budget. And then we've got SB 1302, which is school-based health centers. This is expected to get to the governor's desk. However, it is provides for $1 billion in spending, which is not provided for in the budget. So while it is likely to get through, it is not likely to be signed because of the budgetary impact. But from what I've heard, it is anticipated that it will be discussed as part of next year's cycle and with budget impact for the following year. And those are the main ones that I have. Thank you. With that, we move to consent calendar. As amended, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as amended?
So moved.
Second. And we have discussion on one item? Did we?
Okay.
Because I saw Ada here. I just wanted to make sure on item 19A2 about the conceptual design and budget for the student gathering at Estancia High School that I emailed about possibly having the landscaping on wheels so it'd be movable. One of the conversations that I had heard from the principal was they had thought about maybe having dances outside or doing different student events, and this design showed everything as it looked planted, so I just wanted to see where that was.
Good evening. So we're working with the site right now to finalize design. We really are just bringing you a conceptual design so you have something to look at and comment on. We'll go back with the site. We meet with them every other week and continue to develop that plan. This was just in an attempt to have something to look at, establish a budget, and then we'll fine tune it from there. It's basically a pretty picture at this point. So we'll definitely consider that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Thank you.
Okay. It's been moved by trustee Weigand. I apologize, I didn't write down who seconded. I
did.
Thank you. It's been moved by trustee, thank you. Moved by trustee Weigand, seconded by trustee Metoyer. Roll call vote?
Trustee Barto?
Yes?
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson? Yes. Trustee Soilu?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Great. Moving on to discussion action calendar. 20A, provide staff with guidance associated with the Irvine Company Endowment budget assignment. Mr. Trader.
Good evening. On April 19th, the board revised the allocation method for the Irvine Company Endowment, and that qualifies $494,876 for a budget assignment. We look forward to your guidance.
May I have a motion to approve?
Approve. Motion
What-
to approve.
What are we approving? We're approving that we're going to give guidance, or do we?
Yes.
Okay, I move that we give guidance. You want to second my motion?
Sure, I had a trustee Anderson for
Oh,
move.
she moved, and I'll
Yes.
second. Perfect.
444.
And now any discussion?
Yeah.
Trustee Anderson and then trustee Matoye.
Thank you. I have a couple of ideas. One that actually came to me when listening to the CTE conversation. I think one of the ideas could be similar to one of our local nonprofits. They have students from our schools that tutor and they pay them, so they're actually have an after school job, but then they're working with kids that are in their neighborhood. It could be cool because we are talking about expanding the arts and theater and a lot of things that we have our own CTE students doing. So I was thinking one possibility could be to pay our own students. I mean, we have lots of community service. We know a lot of students are doing that, but if we need to set up a theater program at a couple of schools, who better to do it than some of our own students and to help with that? And for STEM, and I know we have a lot of elementary students who want entrepreneurship training, and so the business component could be helpful. So I think that could be something that would be used district-wide. One of the other things for me that I think could be really helpful is for us to use some of the money to do math intervention, either to hire tutors or to use the model that Lori Hogart was using at Killybrook of having the daytime teachers get paid to stay after school and work with their own kids and to do that intervention. I continue to see a lot of kids that are really struggling with math basics, and so that is one that comes to mind for me. My initial ideas.
Trustee Matoye and then trustee Crane.
And I was thinking, we had such a wonderful opportunity over the summer to work with so many terrific partners that filled in where we didn't have enough teachers to be able to provide extra services and extra things in the arts and in dance and theater and instrumental music and hands-on art, old-fashioned art that we think about that elementary school teachers do put in their classrooms all the time, but not to the extent that some schools have art masters or Meet the Masters, different programs that provide that art to their students. One of the things, and I think what a great opportunity that we vetted a whole bunch of community programs that we could facilitate. One of the things we have to, that we shouldn't necessarily pick is to make sure that each school can pick something that works for them. We can't, it's not fair to a school to say, okay, you're going to get drama and art and math tutoring and this, all of this, boom, on your school. It's going to be after school, and that's overwhelming. So I think it would be great if we for us to say we authorize using some of our vetted programs to provide the augmentation that a site requests, that the principal will say, okay, I don't have to go to PTA. I don't have to go to a foundation. I can go to this fund and say, we loved having this program on our campus in the summer. Can we continue it during the year? That was my thought.
Thank you. Trustee Crane.
First, I'd like a point of clarification as far as, are there any specific limitations to this funding? Can it not go to something specific?
Can't go to me.
No, it's purely up to the board on how you want to.
So it can be personnel, it could be capital improvement, it could be,
Yes.
I mean.
I thought it was educational enhancements and only for a 1 year.
Well,
yeah.
So, yes, well, let me back up. The amount is a fiscal year amount. So if you don't use all of the money in 1 year, of course, that will carry over. Secondly, the definition for educational enhancement is anything that is beyond the board or beyond the district's current core curriculum.
Okay.
So it's enhancements, and of course that's wide open in terms of, you know, whether it's in the classroom or facilities or those kinds of things.
So it can be a capital improvement?
Yes, it could.
Okay. All right. Well, here's the thing. It's wonderful to have that excess money to spend, and we should spend it. I just think that we need some sort of process, and what triggered that thought is Trustee Metoyer saying, well, it depends what the site wants. We can't just dictate what we want and then give it and then put it at the site sort of thing. Here, you're going to get that. So I wonder if we need to maybe work on a process where we can survey the sites or some sort of okay,
You can't hear me. This is the brainstorming session right now. So the fact that we're
brainstorm as to where we want to spend it or how we're going to spend it.
So this is everyone's time to give ideas.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So if you have some sort of idea, something that you'd like to see, that's where this goes. And then basically from there, we can go to what the process looks like, what kinds of, it's our thought exchange, but in public.
All right. Okay, so I would love to see a garden at every school because it shows farm to table, and it's such a green space, and I think it teaches kids a lot about sustainability. And so that's one of my wish lists. The other one is I went to a play at Sonora. Willy Wonka was awesome, but they didn't have speakers and NPRs. And I know that NPRs are on our MNO calendar to improve each site, each NPR site. But can we maybe put the little, I went to Newport-Mesa and they had like a drop-down mic that we can put from the ceiling. So at least it's something until we go onto the whole NPR renovations and cycle. I mean, you know, those are my top two.
Right, we have Trustee Wygant and then Trustee.
Oh, I had one more.
Go ahead.
One more.
Yeah.
I would like bike racks that fit e-bike wheels on campus. Bike racks on campuses that fit e-bike wheels, because right now our bike racks, they fit regular wheels, and the e-bike wheels are thicker.
Okay. Trustee Wygant, then Trustee Anderson, then Trustee Yelsey, then Trustee Ursoila. I'm saying this out loud so that I remember the order, and I'm going to write it down.
So I'm kind of taking a step back and looking at, we've got $480,000, whatever it was, and figuring out, okay, so we got ideas, great, but make sure that we spend it equitably across the district.
Mm-hmm.
So we might say, hey, okay, does each year that money go split it equally across, say, 23 elementary schools, and then the next year, then we go to secondary schools, and next year we go to junior and middle schools, or do we do it zone by zone? So I think there's a lot of ideas of how can we spend this money and use it with all these great programs, but we need to be make sure that we're spreading it equally across the district so that we don't just say, hey, this, we know that there is a need over here in the Kaiser's NPR room, which needs air conditioning and probably some other TLC. And all of our NPRs need some air conditioning after spending that summer visiting. They're quite sticky sometimes. But, making sure that we spend it on an equal footing is, I think, really crucial for us. So as trustees, we can look and say, look, we got this year, we're getting this year, and we can all talk to our constituents and our schools and let them know what they're getting and when. And so I think great ideas, we can talk about ideas, but I think we also need to start talking about the procedure of timeline of spending the money throughout, which schools get what and when.
Okay, Trustee Anderson.
I have a question. I know we are doing a lot for expanded learning, and so a lot of the things that Trustee Matoya was talking about we're doing for expanded. I was wondering if we could get a list, because every single time I read something new, I'm like, oh, I didn't know we were doing that. So I think it would be great kind of before we maybe make a final decision to have a comprehensive list of what we are offering, as well as a list of who were partners throughout the district this summer, and kind of seeing, if there's overlap or where the holes are. And I know the city of Costa Mesa as well, and probably Newport Beach, are doing a lot more with their parks department and connecting with the city or with the district. So I think it would be interesting too to get some more information before we make a final decision, so we have the best information.
There's definite overlap. We have such a problem because there's money right now. And who would have thought we'd put the word problem and have money in the same sentence, but it is. And it's also, the ELO money is great.
I think there's a song about that. No money, no problems.
Yes. It's like, I'd like to try some of those problems for myself personally. I'll win the lottery and have those problems just to see what it's like. But I agree with you, Miss Anderson, Trustee Anderson, that we've got this thing, but the fact that we all want to spend the money is a good thing, but we do need to spend it wisely. This money will perpetuate. I don't know about the ELO money. So whenever we get some information.
I'm gonna let Dr.
Absolutely. Whenever that happens, let us know, just like with the ESSER money. This one goes away here and this one goes away there and this one, and because then we can get it. But yay. Sorry I interrupted your next choice.
It's okay. Dr. Smith's going to jump in.
Okay, Dr. Smith is the next choice. Does he have a... Just kidding. Go ahead.
Can't find it. I just want to help you all relax. The decision isn't being made at the next meeting. The idea here is because several of you have mentioned that this has been a priority of yours for a long time, that you've had access to resources that our students could desperately need and deserve once identified. And so this was an aspirational conversation, so you can say, these are the types of things that we think would benefit our students. What the staff then is able to do is take this and put together some ideas for your consideration, which we would weigh against laws, right? Other programs we have, and then share that information with you and come back for as many bites at the apple as it takes for you to really hone down what it is that the seven of you believe is in the best interest of our students. And certainly as we do, Trustee Weigand, bringing back, approaches that address the entire district. So yeah, that's the plan. But this was just because several of you have said, there are a lot of ideas we've never been able to share at the dais. Well, here's your chance to say, I can't hear anyone in the NPRs, right?
See them sometimes.
Yeah, duly noted, right? So that's that. And we'll do this in a time frame that allows you to get all the information you need to make an informed decision. So dream big.
Okay, so we're going to go with Trustee Yelsey, Trustee Ursulou, and then Trustee Crane.
Well, some has been answered, but and I think they've all been very good comments. But as we see, everybody has some different ideas about what they want to do, and I tend to agree with Trustee Weigand in terms of looking at it to make sure that all schools have equal access to this money because it was from the Irvine Endowment, and that's what it was intended for. And I like the idea of maybe looking at different years doing something. But I have a question, Jeff. I know you said if we don't spend all of it one year, it can go over to into the next part of the fiscal year. Can it go over more than that? Because we've also talked about all the, I hate to say this because I got in trouble 2 years ago when I said we have money.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we have money, but we do have more money than normal, but it needs to be spent
Specific.
according to a calendar in a certain amount of time. So are there things that we might want to use this for, and we can say, well, let's hold off. Can we put it in some kind of holding pattern to maybe use more? And, you know, if we're not using it one year, can we use twice as much the next year or not?
Yes, you can. So if you think about this, we're simply going to move this amount of money over to another area.
Fund.
And then whatever you don't spend out of there, we'll just simply carry over and stay there. So we'll keep moving this every year, and then whatever you don't spend. And then, of course, we can get very creative, too, on if you have a larger project you want to look at, and we can look at making those things work.
But I do think I like the idea of including the schools themselves into what's their wish list of what they would want. And it may be different at different schools, you know, as we've talked about, so.
Okay, and then Trustee Ursulou?
Yeah, thank you. I think I might have a little different take on sort of the function of the money. To me, it's like, okay, we have this extra money. It needs to be used in a supplemental way to help our students. And so in my mind, an opportunity would be to use that, just thinking about, you know, some of our Title I schools where we have only 20-30% of the kids that can read and do math at grade level. To me, there's a big gap that can be filled with something like, to Trustee Anderson's point about the Killybrook supplemental education after school opportunities, to try to get that playing field a little more equal so that our kids can take advantage of those CTE opportunities in a meaningful way later on in their academic career. But to sort of level that elementary playing field a little bit, because as we heard from one of our speakers, you know, they have a PTO that has $400,000. And so we have some schools with PTOs that have like $20,000. So to me, this equitable disbursement doesn't really seem as pressing to me as sort of equalizing the outcomes in our district. So that would just be my 2 cents.
Trustee Yelsey?
Well, yeah, I think the reason I feel it should be across the board is we are already spending more on those Title I schools. So it's not like everybody else is getting equal amounts from other funds. The Title I schools are getting much more of that. So I think we need to keep that in mind as well.
Okay, Trustee Ursulou, and then I get to say something.
Yes, absolutely. We do spend more on Title I schools. As you know, most of those Title I schools don't have those supplemental foundation funds. And so this is just an opportunity for that.
And I would just like to add, I think that the initial intent of this was arts, and I think that arts is sadly one of those areas that is not, we have a lot of funding coming in for specific things, STEM. As you can see, we've got additional funding for CTIG grants, for ROPs. We have a lot of really wonderful things that we're doing for 7th through 12th and for STEM and for reading and learning, but there's not a lot of funding for arts. We have that funding, and I've seen some really amazing things that our elementary school music teachers have been able to do in a short amount of time, and what they've been able to help our kids learn to do. But something like learning a musical instrument, while it seems like a nice to have, is very foundational for a lot of students doing well in math and doing well in life. And if there's a way to make that something that's more part of the curriculum that we offer, the arts, I think, other than just a nice to have, drama is really nice that their plays are really cute, but I think viewing that as an educational tool that goes along with the math and the science, those sorts of things, really speaks to that kind of whole child goal that we had talked about. So that would be my 2 cents. All right. Any further discussion? Oh, go ahead.
Does that give district enough guidance? Is that enough? I'm sure if we put our mind to it, we can spend more money. But I mean, is this a good starting point for staff?
Absolutely, for next step. For next step,
Yes.
you bet. And appreciate the feedback and gratitude that you took this on. I think as soon as I got here, this was an issue that became elevated by the board, and so 10 months ago. And so, you know, kudos to you and some community members, by the way, that came and suggested we do the same. So plenty of information, and we'll come back with some ideas and move this along. Again, needs assessment, legality, those kinds of things, not getting in the way of what we're already doing. We'll look at that and bring some ideas back.
Thanks. We didn't do a roll call vote on that, so that concludes our discussion. We do need a roll call vote, however.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wygant?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
I'm a yes, but what are we approving? I thought we were
That we're
just
going to give
providing.
guidance.
Input.
We approved that we're giving discussion. So we approved that we're giving guidance, and we're approving that we have it on discussion action.
Oh, so we have to approve?
So we discussed it, but we had to approve our own in public discussion. All right, so moving to 20B, adopt resolution number 0408-22, approving issuance of requests for proposals for leaseback construction service for the theater project at Estancia High School. Mr. Trader.
So this is wonderful news. Ada Zaresny, our facilities director, and her team are moving quickly on the Estancia Theater, and this is an approval to issue a request for proposal for our leaseback construction services, which will move us forward on the Estancia Theater.
Do we need to move and second
Thank you.
before discussion?
We do, yes. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Matoye, seconded by trustee Anderson, to have our further discussion, and then we'll go to a roll call vote. Any questions for Mr. Trader? All right, roll call vote?
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yeah.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wygant?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Moving to 20C, review and receive governance oh, wow, need some water. Governance calendar 2022-2023. Dr. Smith.
Yeah, and so the action before you tonight is to just receive the governance calendar. This, again, was something that came up early last year. I think we're at CSBA, and it came up every day I was walking with you. I got back to recognize that Rosie had been working on this and already had done a ton of work. So we worked with the departments to put some things on there as well. It's important to note that these are really placeholders, except for the board meetings, but even those could be canceled. Some things can be moved around, new board member orientations, things like that. But this at least gives us an idea, looking at the year, when we would be doing these important items. So, there for you to receive.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Crane, seconded by trustee Wygant. Any discussion?
Yes.
First of all, I just want to say thank you.
That was mine.
I wanted a governance calendar since about the second week that I was in this role. So I'm really excited to see this and to finally have one. I had a couple of comments and ideas for the first section under effective governance. I think it could be helpful to have the orientation for board candidates before the filing deadlines usually, because I think one of the things that I would have wanted, and I hear from often from other people, is to know more about the process, to know the amount of time that it takes, and just to know what the role is. So I think that would be helpful to have prior. So, maybe by August 1st. And then for the
Clarification, for candidates before they file, so they're not,
someone is
they haven't been
interested.
elected yet.
Yeah, so it could be like a part 1, part 2. So
yes,
come learn about
Okay.
what it is to be a board member, and then the part 2 would be after the filing deadline has ended.
then here's what you really got into.
Right. It could be more specific district information. And then under the community relations section, I think it could be cool to put maybe the state of the schools breakfast that we have every year to just make sure that it's on there. It's almost always, I believe, in October, the first week in October or the second week in October. And then when we finalize this at some point, I think it also could be helpful to have some of our standing reports, or to have even just for the year, here's, the CTE report, we're having this, once every 2 years, or so we kind of have more of a regulated process. And we can anticipate or realize, oh gosh, we haven't heard about the community alliance in 8 years or something. And then for facilities too, I think like it would be helpful to have, what we're going, in April, what the summer plans are, and then, maybe in August, what was completed. So I think, we can add some specificity, but this is a beautiful start. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Trustee Matoye.
Light. I love the idea of putting stated schools on there. That makes sense. And
Yes.
and that's great. I hate to think that I would rather see a list of all the potential reports, for example, that just go over the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, under reports, this is what we had. You can hand that to a board member so they can see what we've done in the past. But I'd hate to put it on a calendar when there wasn't a need in a certain year, or, right now, we have need to hear about the school safety that comes up on a sadly regular basis. But our CTE report, we haven't heard for a couple years because it wasn't as profound. This year, we needed to hear it. So that came up. I don't want to put too much in a box that sticks you in that box to have to think about doing it. Or just like, there's another blank page in the back. The following reports have been given in the past, and that
I like that idea.
would be, just so that somebody brand new coming in could go, oh, look, they gave a report on the summer program. Oh, and they did it in September, not August, because the people were too, never ask somebody what play they're going to do next right after the play's over, because they don't want to do another play. So I just think that would be a good idea. Someday.
Trustee Crane.
For one, Rosie, thank you for all that hard work. I know that you've been working on this since, I think, day one that I was sworn in, so a couple of years, almost 2 years. Thank you. I do believe that this is a great blueprint for our district on so many levels, and I love the different aspects because it shows what a robust organization we are. Not only are we're definitely not one-dimensional. And I love the fact that it's a blueprint for who we are and that people can access it. Those who are interested in our districts, those from parents to staff to teacher to anyone who would like to see what we're about. I do think that it needs to stay user-friendly because you could lose people. So I think this is my teacher hat now. It's like you need to keep them captivated, engaged if you're going to put it out there. So we need to just be mindful of that. Whatever, we can discuss this. It is a working document. It is a work in progress, but this is an amazing start, and thank you for everyone who's contributed to it.
So, discussing amongst ourselves.
Trustee Wigand.
Yep.
I just wanted to echo a little bit what Trustee Matoye said about not painting us too much in a quarter, because there's going to be items that might come up that are like the time, something that's a big and important part of the world just now, and we need to act on it. So if we don't have room, and we got to be flexible and nimble, because as we've seen over the last 2 years, life changes, and we got to make sure that we're not like, oh, we've got to do this, and this, and that's what it says, but make sure that we can accommodate the fires that we need to put out or things that we really need our students to be able to have or learn.
So it sounds like I'm getting everyone's input.
I put it down because you were going to call me, but I still have it.
Oh, you have a comment. Go ahead.
Yeah. And this is a question for the staff and us. It is a great tool. It does say, as a board member, that would be another helpful hint for somebody wanting to be on the board. Oh, look what they have to do. Look what they have to, oh my, how much reading does it take to do? That's the kind of stuff that would be really good to have. So is this something that could be posted on our board section of our webpage? Or is this?
I know districts do it.
With giant asterisks that say, dates are, this is our planned dates, things could change, so that nobody says, I don't want to have a public comment that says, you said you were going to do this on this month and you did it the week into the next month. You know, I don't want that to be so rigid, but I mean, I'd love to have it be posted, but that's, so, yes, thank you.
So absolutely.
Not under calendars, but in our page section.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just remind you, you're receiving it. You're not even adopting it. If you adopted it, you're not legally bound by what's on there because things do come up and some reports you don't have to give. What you're trying to do is demonstrate that throughout the year, these are the things that you either plan to and or typically do during the year. First interim, second interim, things like that, other things that come up. So you're getting, giving yourself and the public an idea of what we typically do in a year. And we could certainly put that in a location where people could have access to that. And you have every right to say, no, we're not going to do that report this year, but we need to add these 3 because of what's going on. I would say the document is created for you, not you for the document.
Yeah, I do love that, having it on the website, because I think a lot of times we've talked about a paper handbook, and I think just as we move more towards digital, yeah. So it sounds like if we could maybe add a couple of dates on here, the state of the schools, and then the pre-orientation for board candidates, and then at some point perhaps like a list of previously done reports. I think that covers pretty much everyone's questions. Thank you so much for all that. I really appreciate that. All right, so roll call vote.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
All right, so we now move to informal reports.
The report at the end, typically a chance for us to share things we've seen and experienced and want to celebrate and lift up. Also does provide me a chance to, if new information comes in during the meeting, to once again clarify so as accurate as it can be on record. Someone did share with me during the meeting that for accuracy's sake, NMUSD doesn't test their folks because they require them to get vaccinated. They just fired 500 people for not getting vaccinated. So that's why they don't test. We don't have that same vaccine mandate. And so I just wanted to clarify that that's where they went this week, according to the report.
Thank you.
And then as it looks at what are we doing this week and last, I've got to tell you, it's been so inspiring to be around our folks and reminded of why it is that we do this work. And I know why the 7 of you dedicate your time to these efforts. Bringing back teachers, first-year teachers is always exciting. Even those that are new to our district, also exciting. But those folks that are like, I've never had my own classroom, the energy that they had, the questions, the great questions they had, and staff do a great job of putting on these opportunities for them to learn and to grow in the district. Special education teachers came in and had some great workshops there. In all the meetings, no one was falling asleep. Our Thinking Maps workshop, we heard that teachers went back to their schools and had more meetings to talk about thinking maps and how powerful that activity was, and got a message from multiple principals thanking us for that. The work that we did on system sensing and system thinking has been applied really throughout with the principals to address some of those challenges that you've heard some of our community members discuss relative to the health and well-being of our teammates, and that they've noticed a difference. And I just wanted to share this from a teacher that I don't really know. I've met. Yeah, we don't play racquetball together, something like that. But he said today's psych culture work was powerful and impactful to so many teachers. We could not stop talking about how much we missed connecting with each other to build culture. And then they complimented Dr. Bolton. Definitely uplifts the spirit for this coming school year. Thank you. We've gotten just unrequested, people just reaching out and saying we've really enjoyed the trainings and the way we're launching this school year. And so we look at our team and where they are. They're focused on the future that the board priorities have laid out along with our LCAP goals. They're energized about leaning into those relationships and improving those. And many have commented that they've never had this focus and this energy going into a school year. And that's the work that we should celebrate.
Thank you. All right, so we've got board member reports, committee reports. I'm going to start with you, Trustee Matoye. We'll work our way down.
Since our last board meeting, we were able to, a lot of us were able to attend some of the summer programs, which were fabulous. It was fantastic. Teachers are totally engaged, and administration last week was totally engaged in our professional development, which is basically making sure that our leaders understand our culture and climate and our direction, and that we care. Because after 2.5 years of, we have to do this because it's compliance, we have to do this to stay open, we have to do this to do that, people were all exhausted and burnt out. And the efforts that were made to help people understand that we get it, but you know, thank you for sticking it out, and what can we do to help you, and here's where we're going, and we're not done. We don't just say, okay, COVID check, we're done now. We know that there's residuals, and it's not just leftover problems in your lungs. It's also the mental stress of it all. And I thank you. It's the efforts that are put on by our classified employees to get schools ready for our certificated employees to get in there and do magic with our children. It's just spectacular. So thank you. That was it. And I'm sure I'll add something later because you know I always do. And if I don't, please make a note.
I want to welcome Cynthia Strassman, our HCPTA president. Thank you. I also attended the Newport-Mesa School Foundation meeting on August 11th, and the group is very excited for the State of School breakfast. They're working really hard, and they're expecting, they send out about 500 invitations, and the capacity is 250. So those are very wanted tickets. They're going to be really probably being sold on the black market. But the tickets are $33, and then there's sponsorships. But the reason why they're $33 is because we have 33 schools. So it's very symbolic. Thank you to NMFT for underwriting the invitation costs. We appreciate that. And again, it's going to be the event of the year. So thank you, NMSF, for your partnership. Everyone else said everything. So excited for the kids, excited for staff, for teachers to have an amazing year. Certainly, we're off to a good start.
I just wanted to say thank you for focusing on literacy for a lot of our teacher trainings this year. I think for the first time ever, we've had so many teachers learn the specific science of teaching reading, and I'm really looking forward to positive outcomes from that. And I'm really excited tomorrow. We have a superintendent who is excited to go on a West Side Schools tour, which is the first time. So I'm really looking forward to showing all of the different nonprofits in our neighborhood and the different partners and tell the story of the 5 schools that I represent. So thank you for being willing to go.
I attended the youth sports meeting a couple weeks ago. Time is very complex now. Yes. And so I just want to thank Lance and his team, because it always, on those calls, they are the superstars, just making sure facilities are up and running for all of our sports. It's so important to keep our kids active, especially after the pandemic. And also, I just want to highlight, I'm also a commissioner for the Orange County Children and Families Commission, and the CTE work that we're doing, especially with the early childhood development pathway at Mesa, and to expand that to Estancia and to others, because there is a critical shortage of staff for early childhood education in the county, nationwide, but in the county as well. So the more that we can get that up and moving and expanded beyond Mesa would be really great. So thank you to everybody.
Just want to mention that the parents are very excited about being back on their school and volunteering right from the start of this year. So I've had a lot of parents being very excited about being helping out with back to school. Another thing that I was talking about is, thank you so much for staffing all of our classes. I think I've had so many people call me about talking about staffing shortages. There's been a lot of communication in articles in the paper about, are you really sure that there is a staffing shortage and you can't find teachers? And I said, yes, but, our district does a very good job of it, and you don't have to worry that your student will have a class and a teacher to be at. And we're very well staffed, so I want to thank you for that, and I'm really looking forward to the school year being so normal, I guess you'd say. Yay.
I missed the leadership program that you had, but I heard from a handful of principals how wonderful it was. And I could see it the Monday I went to the first day at CDM, and the teachers were just so excited to be back. New principal, and it was a fabulous program of building community at that school, and it was pretty amazing. And CDM has their first football game before school starts this Friday, and they already have over 350 people signed up for a tailgate. So
That's middle school.
pretty exciting.
The middle school one, right?
No, high school.
Yeah, but it's for the high school game, yeah.
Great. I'll just add that the primary things that I've attended are Newport Harbor High School's parent orientation and those sorts of things for my kids going in. And it's been really heartwarming to see all the teachers who are so excited, all the parents who are so excited to be back. It feels like a really good year. There's a lot of people who are dedicated and happy to volunteer in their kids' classroom, and I'm so thankful for that because it's been such a rough couple of years. And we just also went to say earlier to Ara, I talked with a few Ensign students, not just my own, regarding the gathering area for Ensign, and all of them thought that was just a really great use of space, and all of them went, wow, what a great idea. So it's going to be very well received among them as well.
And I was right. There was one more thing.
All right.
Tomorrow night is a parent orientation meeting to meet the new administrator over at Costa Mesa High School at 5 o'clock in the library. So I wanted to remind anybody who's awake and still listening to this that if you're interested to go meet Dr. Potness and staff, they'll be there.
Thank you. And with that, I'm going to adjourn at 8:25 p.m.